All right, all right. Welcome in, welcome in. Sorry for the bit of a delay start on here. Hang on just a second. Let me do a quick sound check here, real quick. Make sure everything's a-okay. Hang on just a moment. Okay, we are good to go. We're good to go. Yeah, sorry. I just am now getting to you. Uh, I was got caught in some traffic on my way to the show, on my way to back home, and I decided it was going to be faster if I pulled off to the side and ran like a mile to get here. So here we are now, back in. We're doing an Indie Mondays, doing an Indie Mondays stream here on the YouTube channel, brought the Goody Awards. This is Indie Mondays, brought to you by the Goody Awards, and we got quite a few things I want to talk to you about today as we get into some of the stuff that's been going on in this past week of music and movies and entertainment and more. So let me go ahead and as I transition to some of our headlines, let me go ahead and pull up our little caption. It's time for some headlines. It's time for some headlines. What has been going on this past week here in the music scene? Hang on just a second. Let me close the window over here so you can hear a little better. Just a moment. Bit of a new space here, so getting used to what is going on over here. But we are in Indie Sundays now, Indie Mondays. Given this a try, maybe we'll do Indie Mondays instead of Indie Sundays. Maybe we'll do a little bit of both. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. If you have any comments on things that you've been watching or listening to this past weekend, a lot of people dropped. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And if you checked out any of them, be sure to let me know. Drop it in the comment, drop it in the chat, and I'll be sure to interact with your comment because I appreciate the interaction. So let's go over a couple different things that have been going on this past week. There were quite a few. There are two award shows that we're going to get to later in the night, later in the stream. But I want to hit a live event that was not a media necessarily related event. It was the debate. The debate happened on Wednesday, so maybe you tuned in. And how does this relate to, this is sort of a cultural thing and it relates to music a little bit. And that following the debate, Taylor Swift, one of the biggest artists in the world, endorsed Kamala Harris. And following the endorsement, Trump posted on his little Truth Social, he posted a little kind of a hateful message directed at Taylor Swift. Let me show you a little bit about what he said. It wasn't very uh, long, but look at this on True Social. I hate Taylor Swift. Wow. So on his little True Social app, he says, I hate Taylor Swift. Well, a lot of people hate Donald Trump right now. He is still being sued by multiple artists for using their music in ways that they did not allow, including the White Stripes is one of the most recent artists to sue him for using their music in some of his campaign stuff. And then finally, after 4 years, here's an example of sort of the tail end of something like that. Eddie Grant, who Trump is using his song Electric Avenue, and he finally received payment for a lawsuit he brought against Trump 4 years ago in the last election campaign, the last election cycle. So, these things, all these artists are getting in on it now because, we got to go take him to task. So he has not learned his lesson, obviously, he and his campaign. So that's a bit about what's been going on with that, with the Harris and Trump first debate. So I thought it was pretty interesting to see just sort of how the two of them sparred against each other and how that all turned out. And it was very interesting that Taylor Swift waited so long. Here, let me go ahead and because let's go to her. Because she waited a while to give her support for someone, give her support for a candidate, which seems interesting because, why there was stuff happening. Let's see, which of these posts is it? Here we go. So she posted right after, following the debate. She said she watched the debate, and then she's taking a stance with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. She has a whole thing like this, and she references the whole childless cat lady meme that has been a little bit of a thing this election cycle. It's interesting that she chose now to say something instead of earlier, whenever like Donald Trump was putting out AI generated images saying that that Swifties stood with him. So that why would you not make a comment then? It's only now that she's made it, and it's interesting just that how she has an effect, whether real or just imagined. But the imagined effect, is important as well. Real or imagined, whether she has an effect on a voter base, on the American people, or a certain sector of the American people, perhaps, on to go and vote a certain way, depending on. So both sides would have appreciated her endorsement. So it's interesting that she waited so long. It's interesting that does it actually mean anything? Does her endorsing something, or is her fan base gonna align with that? I don't know. It's interesting. It'll be. You saw that after the debate, like it was 40,000 people, something like that, 400,000 went and signed up on vote.org. Some could say maybe that was Taylor Swift effect. Some could say maybe that was just seeing the new candidate with Harris being the presidential candidate instead of Biden. So it's kind of interesting. Just an interesting sort of relation to, and it makes me wonder, in the past, would someone have Michael Jackson ever been politically active in the same way, or given, or Elvis, or one of these massive, or the Beatles, given these massive singers, how would they have affected political stuff in the past, and just how Taylor Swift compare? So it's an interesting conversation just with all that. So in addition to Taylor Swift and in the debate and all this stuff going on, there were a lot of album announcements this week. So let me get into a couple of those because there was a lot of different stuff that was going on. Let's see. Let me transition over to this. And now as I transition over to my the Spotify page, just shout out this. I'm working on putting together a playlist, September playlist for any of the songs or some of the top songs or things I mentioned from stuff that I've been listening to. So a couple different people have announced albums. Franz Ferdinand, you see it. We got a bit right here. They have we'll start at the latest and then work our way back. Is January 10th, they've announced a new album, The Human Fear. And so that is an album they've got coming out soon. And their single Audacious is out right now. I've got it on this playlist. If you want to go check it out. I thought it was pretty good. We also, Shawn Mendes, the VMAs, he debuted, which the VMAs were just this past week. We'll talk about those in a minute and my reaction to that and why I think it might be kind of sad. But Shawn Mendes has a self-titled album, Shawn. And so he coming out in October. And he debuted this song, Nobody Knows, at the VMAs. And then also this week, The Weeknd He's got an album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, coming out later this year. But then he had a song come out. I think this past Friday. He also had a song release in anticipation. Yeah, Dancing in the Flames, in anticipation for his new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, coming down the line. And then Tears for Fears has a new live album coming out, and it's got 4 new tracks on it. And the Girl That I Call Home is a single of one of those 4 new tracks that is out now. So The Girl That I Call Home, Tears for Fears. So this is Everybody Wants to Rule the World, folks. So that is they have a new song out right now for that album. And I would kind of describe this week of music because you have a bunch of people dropping singles. Let's see, a bunch of album announcements, including one that I was very happy to see. We have I had a sense that Brat Summer was not yet over, even though the summer is ending. We have the Brat Remixes album coming out October 11th. So Charli XCX announced that with Troye Sivan and her had a remix Talk Talk that came out last week. And then the announcement of this new album just a few days ago. Brat, and it's completely different, but also still Brat. It's a remix album. So I wanted to sort of break down and rank all the Brat remixes, but now that there's an album coming out with all that, I'm going to wait till that comes out, and then I can hit that. So, Kamala is Brat. We got the debate, and we're continuing on. I wonder if there is some sort of any sort of thought to continue to do Brat Summer just as the election continues to go on, because Charli XCX supported Kamala. I don't know. It's interesting to see was that a thought as well. I'm sure she's also there's the hype of this, and Brat has been one of the biggest albums of the year, but it's interesting to just see okay, well, that's interesting. But let's get into a couple of the albums that came out this week. There were 2 that I really wanted to highlight, and then 2 that I just wanted to mention. The 2 that I just wanted to mention, Coin came out with an album this week, I'm Not Afraid of Music Anymore, and Snow Patrol came out with an album, The Forest is the Path. But the albums that I want to highlight is one from Suki Waterhouse. And she has a new album out, Memoir of a Sparkle Muffin, which is a very millennial type name. But this is, so here's this right here, Memoir of a Sparkle Muffin, Suki Waterhouse. I think that this one song, Gateway Drug, is a great opener to the album, and it's one of my favorite songs off the bunch. But I think this album suffers from, it's got 18 songs, 53 minutes long. I think it suffers from what a lot of albums this year that I've noticed on is it's very long, and I wish she would have trimmed it a little bit. Like this could be, if this was like 10 songs, or even 12, you would be a much tighter album. I feel like I could like sort of come at it a lot better, but just 53 minutes long, 18 songs, gee whiz. It's like I get 2/3 of the way through and I'm like, let me listen to something else. And maybe that's just my TikTok brain coming in, but I just feel like I hate to see another album, I feel like falling prey to being too long. So that's just my thought on that. But I think there's some good songs on here, so definitely check it out. And that Gateway Drug is one that I enjoyed. Okay, this other album that I want to bring to your attention is this Porches album, Shirt. I really enjoyed this album. It kind of reminded me of this one band, Bay Faction. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they disbanded several years ago, and then they just recently put out a new single, so they might be getting back together. So I thought I was never going to get Bay Faction music again. So I may be getting more of that, but even still, this album, I really like the sort of, it combines this all rock, indie rock type style with some sort of like vocal processing that's sort of electronic or hyperpop a little bit, and it makes this really interesting alternative album. So I was a big fan of this. If you have a chance, at least check out the song that we put onto the playlist. Joker is the one from that. So let's see. Let me show you. So at least if you want to, go check out this song, and if you like it, go check out the rest of the album, because I thought it was an interesting little type of album. I enjoyed seeing that. Okay. As we continue on with the headlines, let's get into some movie stuff. There were a couple movie things that I wanted to hit. Let's see. Well, here's one right off the top. Look at this. Netflix says Benito, that's Bad Bunny, and Adam Sandler Bad Bunny will star in Happy Gilmore 2. So did you know there was a Happy Gilmore 2 in the works with Netflix? They've been putting out a lot of like these comedy sequels with like Beverly Hills Cop and so on and so forth. And you know, they're doing another Happy Gilmore, and we don't know yet what Bad Bunny's going to be doing in it, but he is in the movie. So that'll be interesting to see. We also have you know, Shailene Woodley. Let's see, let me show you a picture of her. She is going to be starring in a, let's see, what has she been in? She was in the Divergent series and everything like that, Fault in Our Stars and everything. She's going to be playing Janis Joplin in an upcoming biopic. Janis Joplin has never had a biopic of her. She's one of those people that's in the 27 Club, tragically passed away at the age of 27. And there have been previous sort of pre-production ideas to make a biopic about Janis Joplin with Amy Adams, Zooey Deschanel, and so forth. But you know, it's now in the works that they're working on making a biopic with Shailene Woodley playing Janis Joplin. Also, Wicked. They finally announced because Wicked has been giving us a bit of a push and pull. You know, I like to keep you up to date on music and musicals. Wicked Part 2. They finally said that there is going to be a Part 2, and the one coming out later is just the Part 1. You know, there has been some sort of especially with a musical, I feel like it's been, I don't know that there's ever really been like a musical in 2 parts. So they were kind of like with the marketing sort of being vague to be like, oh, we don't want to drag people away by being like, this is just part 1. And then like, let me just wait to see it when it's on like Disney Plus or whatever. But they have finally announced Wicked Part 2 is coming out next year in November, with Part 1 coming out this year in November, towards the end of November 22nd. So that is what's going on with that, Wicked Part 2. So if you're a musical fan, stay tuned for what is it, September right now. So in about 2 months, maybe I'll go check it out and I'll tell you if it's any good. Okay, closing out our headlines here, I want to hit some charts real quick. Let's see, let's get into some charts here. We have, so Sabrina Carpenter hits because, and let me go back to the point that I was starting to hit earlier, is there wasn't a lot of, I felt like there wasn't a lot of, no big artists dropped this week. I think it was, I think Suki Waterhouse, if anything, was the biggest. And then, so this was kind of a chance, I feel like a bunch of indie people dropped this week. A bunch of smaller artists, just taking advantage of the fact that there's no big fish in the water taking up all the attention. So a bunch of smaller artists dropped. So we don't really see them too much on the charts. I mean, Wild God by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds is at number 66 on the charts. But Sabrina Carpenter continues to hold for her lead. And it doesn't say it's updated here, but this is her 3rd week on the chart at number 1. So shout out to her. She's got a 3rd week at the top of the charts. Also want to highlight Eminem. He performed at the VMAs this past week. His Greatest Hits album is from 2005. It became the first hip hop album to spend 700 weeks on the album 200 charts. So it's the 6th album to do this, with some of the other ones being a lot of other Greatest Hits albums, including Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bob Marley, Journey. But the one that's been on the most number of weeks at the charts is Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon. So shout out to Pink Floyd bringing out the chart for 990 weeks. But Eminem just became the first hip hop artist to be on there for over 700. So shout out to him. A couple other things going on the charts. I wish this was a little more updated, but this is generally what we have going on. I'll show you the updated list for the songs in just a moment here. But we still got Post Malone, Chaperone, Morgan Wallen, and more up here in the top list. Let's get into this week's top 10. We've got, once again, Shaboozey hangs on to the number 1 spot. This is his 10th week at a number 1. And so shout out to him for holding on to that song of the summer. I think that should be the song of summer. That is not what ended up winning song of the summer at the VMAs, but that's to me. And then we have a couple other things. We're happy to see Billie Eilish, Chaperone, Teddy Swims, and more here from a little bit of the indie scene, the alternative scene, originally at least, here on the charts. And then might as well, I always like to, it's interesting to look at the global charts as well. We've got, because we see a little bit of Linkin Park, Emptiness Machine is number 3 on the Global 200. Then also been some beautiful things, which he's a winner at the VMAs the other night. I'll tell you what he won in a minute when we get to that. So one last thing on charts as we close things out here in the headlines section. You know, Mr. Drake. I mean, people were talking about him in, as being kind of maybe kind of having a bad week with Kendrick Lamar being announced to be performing at the Super Bowl next year. But he had a bit of a win. He lengthened. He has the most Hot 100 hits of all time. He's got 338 as of now because he added two more with his with No Face and Circadian Rhythm 100 Gigs project that he's been putting out some singles for. And the closest one to him is Taylor Swift 264. So he is far enough got the most Hot 100 hits. So he just continued to add on to that this past week as well. And that is up with our charts and everything like that. And now we're going to get into a couple of our big segments for the which I'm not going to spend too much time on these. I just want to hit because this kind of there's been a lot of just like general little things that have been going on, a lot of little newsy stuff that I just want to hit this week. And so our next thing that I want to go to as we do the transition, you can do whatever you want. No, come on, go away. Okay, there we go. It's just me now. Go get out of here, Drake. There we go. The next, so you have time to do whatever you want right here, and then I'm gonna transition into VMAs, some little VMAs talk because they happened on Wednesday. Because we had the debate on Tuesday and then the VMAs on Wednesday. So, and I may be a little after the VMAs. I may be a little bit sad. So I have some reactions, and I have some happy things that I want to say, but also, you know, there's some things that I was just like, man, I don't know. I kind of wish it had gone another way, but maybe we'll go a different way with the Emmys because we got two award shows we got to look at tonight. So let me get into a little bit of that. Let me share my screen here, and we'll just look over a little bit about what happened at the VMAs, the Video Music Awards. Let me just get up here. A lot of people performed. If you ever want to see this, I'm not going to go through all that. Like, you can look that up if that is interesting to see who went. I just want to look at some of the winners. We had. I'm not surprised, and also this always makes me laugh. Video of the Year presented by Burger King. That's what I want. Oh, come on, show me. There we go. Okay, here I am. So Video of the Year went to Taylor Swift and Post Malone Fortnite. I don't find that surprising. I felt like this was kind of a weak year for a music video. There wasn't really a music video that stood out. So it goes to the one of the bigger songs of the year. I don't think it's the biggest song of the year, but I think Taylor Swift had one of the biggest albums of the year so far. It's just like, you know, it's done. It hasn't been toppled until just the past few weeks. So then Song of the Year, it went to Sabrina Carpenter with Espresso. I'm fine with that. I would have also been happy to see it go to Kendrick Lamar for Not Like Us. I feel like that could have also worked, but you know, I think that Espresso makes sense. Artist of the Year, Taylor Swift, okay, fine, it makes sense. So this is a happy face. Chaperone getting Best New Artist, that's a happy face. Best Collaboration, Taylor Swift and Post Malone, okay. I kind of feel like Post Malone and Morgan Wallen, even though I'm not really a Morgan Wallen fan, I feel like that is kind of a better collaboration. Post Malone, I don't know. That's just me. Then you got Taylor Swift winning Best Pop. Eminem winning Best Hip Hop. Come on. Okay, whatever. Then we get some categories that, you know, R&B, Happy to See SZA, Take It With Snooze, that's a good song. Some K-pop. I'm not too familiar with K-pop and Latin, but okay. Best Rock. Okay, so this gets into some of the sort of categories that we paid more attention to because we went over all the best rock music videos. We went over all the best alternative music videos. And we kind of have two sad faces here because I wanted it to go. I was really pushing for Kings of Leon with Mustang or Green Day with Dilemma because I thought those were two of the most interesting music videos. I'm happy to go to Legendary because that was just a lame music video. And I feel like it's there just to recognize that Bon Jovi, the lead singer, had surgery and now is back, blah, blah, blah. But it went to Lenny Kravitz with Human, which I feel like I like Lenny Kravitz and his music, and the song's kind of fun, but it just seems like an Apple commercial. So I wasn't really a fan of that music video, and I also feel like the Benson Boone is a big song. I'm glad that they recognized him or whatever, but I do not think that was the best music video. I still think it should have gone to Lose Control, though I will say this best alternative category at the VMAs was very, very weak this year. So I mean, I guess give it to Benson Boone and let him recognize that. So, Song of the Year, because it went to Espresso, but Song of the Summer, we had so many good options, and it went to Fortnite. Come on, that song has not been on the charts for weeks. It should have gone to, I think, should have gone to Kendrick Lamar with Not Like Us. I think also TikTok said Million Dollar Baby was their song of the summer. I would have taken the Sabrina Carpenter or something. Come on, I would have taken Shabuzi. Shabuzi should have been like that was a big song. That song's been at #1 for like 10 weeks. We just talked about that a minute ago. So I think that's a big L right there. Song of the Summer presented by Hilton going to Taylor Swift and Post Malone for Fortnite. So I'm not a fan of that. Billie Eilish was a made for a video for good, sure. We got some VMAs with iconic performance. I don't know anything about that. Best trending video, Megan Thee Stallion with Yuki Chiba with Mamushi. I hope I'm saying that right. But I mean, that was a big TikTok sound, so I think that makes sense. Okay, now it gets into, so that's all the voted categories. So, some of that is because of you have all the fans voting on it and stuff like that. But if we get into some of the professional categories, this makes me mad. Eminem getting Houdini for visual effects. I think that was the worst visual effects, one of the worst visual effects of the whole bunch. It was ugly. It was ugly visual effects. You go watch that video and you tell me that has good visual effects. I think they were doing something with like Meta AI, like people or something like that. And it was like, oh, look at you using this technology, but it's bad technology. This is where I would say like, sometimes I'm like, oh, Taylor Swift is winning too many things. But I think this music video would have been fine for that. I think Get It Back could have worked. I think it should have gone to Megan Thee Stallion because they have some really interesting practical effects in that. But even The Boy Is Mine, which is I think kind of not a great video to use for visual effects, but they have some backgrounds and everything. That's just not a good pick. You watch that video and you tell me if that should have won visual effects. Editing, going to this, I think I'm fine with that. I kind of think it could have gone to something else. I don't think I went on a deep dive of all the editing. I think all these have good things and bad things about them. I'm okay with that, though. I would have been happy, I don't know, with one of these other was winning. Maybe the Espresso, maybe even the Rockstar. I feel like that was one of the cleaner videos that was well edited. Best Direction, okay. I think that's fine. I don't really have, I think Please, Please, Please is really good, but I can't speak too much on the direction on this. Best art direction, now this is Happy Face. It going to BOA, because the production design on this thing, this was a good music video. Best art direction for Megan Thee Stallion getting BOA. That is a win right there. I think that's good. Go check out that music video if you have a chance. I think it's just like a really fun song. Dua Lipa choreography. I'm not a big choreography person. I saw some of the stuff, but I didn't check all these out. And cinematography, I do not think it should have gone to We Can't Be Friends. It has a lot of one takes, which I'm sure stood out to that. But I would have even said like I think that Taylor Swift deserves it because I think just they used that and really used the black and white in a very unique way. And it has one take too. So maybe they were like, we have to spread the love. But I was like, take away something from Taylor Swift here and give this to her because that's where this is where I would have said that she deserves a little bit of cinematography. So that is a bit of the VMAs. Some happy things, but some, a lot of things that I feel like they didn't make the right decision. I feel like that was a little rough. But let's get into something where I do feel like they made some really good decisions because now we're going to transition over to the Emmys. As we transition out of the VMAs. If you have any thoughts on the VMAs, I know we've been talking about them all the past few weeks leading up to last Wednesday night. If you have any thoughts, be sure to let me know. Drop it in the chat or in the comments. But as we transition, we'll do the Emmys, and I'm happy with the Emmys. So I'm putting on my happy face, my happy hat. So this makes me happy. Let me try to do this with one hand. There we go. Emmys. I'm happy. Yay. Okay. Let me show you a little bit about. Now I'm not to go through because this is not super music focused. This is just more media focused. I'm not going to spend a ton of time going through all the categories, but I want to hit a few. In my goal this year was to watch all the limited series, and I have. If I'm being honest, I still have to watch a couple episodes of Fargo to finish it out, but I've watched everything else, and so I want to go ahead and hit some of the categories. So. You have just hitting this so that way just so you can hear it at least once. Hacks winning Outstanding Comedy Series. I've seen the first season of that, but I don't know about the most recent. And then Shogun. I know that was a big series this year on Hulu. But this is Outstanding Limited Anthology Series. This is the one I wanted to lock in because I was like, I don't have to watch past seasons. I can just watch these and I'll be fine. I'll be caught up. So I watched all of these, and I think Ripley on Netflix starring Andrew Scott was a very great, very beautifully shot movie. and or sorry, TV show. Lessons in Chemistry, I think, was the weakest one of the bunch. Fargo has been pretty good. I still have to finish it, but and then True Detective, I thought was pretty good as well. I thought it was a unique story, had a unique perspective. But I think Baby Reindeer winning this one is the right decision right there. I think this was a very when I watched this, I talked about this a little bit earlier in this year. I think this is what I think like with Netflix, you can make something very unique out of TV. Like each episode, I feel like is exactly as long as it needs to be. Each episode kind of focuses on a different thing, and it's the binge model at its finest. Because usually, I think that can be a little too much. But I think Baby Reindeer is just like a very striking story, very emotional thing, and it had some great acting in it and some good representation, and talked about some good things. And I just think it's a good show. And so I am very happy to see that win Baby Reindeer. And also we got some of these actors and things, but we see that Richard Gadd, who is the lead in Baby Reindeer, he won for acting in that. And then we also had the person playing Martha, playing the sort of his stalker in that, also win in acting. And so I was super happy to hear both of them see that both of them got a win for that. We also have Fargo. You have the who's this? Is it Winston from New Girl was in it? I don't know if he does something more in the last few episodes I haven't seen, but I was like, okay, I don't know. I mean, he did okay, but I don't know what he necessarily did in that. But then Jodie Foster also, she did a really good job in True Detective, so I think she deserves to win that. Let me see if there's any other things. Outstanding directing for a limited anthology series or movie. Ripley getting that. Yes, I think that this is the right decision because the shots of this are so beautiful for Ripley, and I just think everything is just and a lot of it is the editing and everything, and a lot of that comes down to the directing and use everything working together, all the pieces working together, and I think that definitely is deserved. And let me see if there's any other thing. Baby Reindeer won for some outstanding writing. I think that's true. The writing was very good, and that's the stuff. So I just wanted to hit some of the at the Emmys, some of the stuff that was going on with the stuff related to the limited series, and because I watched all those, and I was happy to see that the ones that I thought were very good, or the people that I thought were very good, or the acting performances that I thought were good, were generally what won. And I think it was good to see. I was happy to see Baby Reindeer take home a lot of stuff because I think that's a very good show. And I think everything was recognized as it needed to. Lessons in Chemistry didn't win anything, but that show's kind of weird. That's a whole another topic. So I am happy. A little bit sad with the VMAs, but I'm happy with the Emmys. And so, but let me leave it on a sort of happy note. Is that because we're done with the Emmys? We're done with the VMAs. The VMAs, I feel like, kind of acts as a precursor to the next thing, because the next big thing in music is going to be the Grammys. And we may have a couple award shows along the way that sort of relate to that, or whatever. But the Grammys, let's see, when are they going to be? Grammys 2025. I want to say they're in February. Yes, February 2nd. Is that Groundhog Day? I think it might be. Anyway, so February 2nd. So that's several months away. But it's the next big thing in music, and you have to think about, okay, what happened at the VMAs here? What are people thinking about? What are people going to notice? And I think Chaperone winning Best New Artist speaks very well for her to win Best New Artist at the Grammys. I think Benson Boone might get some recognition, maybe even in the alternative category for Beautiful Things. I mean, I could even see Beautiful Things getting in for Song of the Year, something like that. I don't know that it'll win because I think something else is going to go. I think it's going to go to like Not Like Us or Espresso or one of those. But I think Benson Boone getting in for Song of the Year is a possibility now. And so that is something that I'm sort of noticing. And there are some happy things. There are some positive things to see from the VMAs. Now, I do think that looking at things, that Taylor Swift is probably going to win like Album of the Year again, which I think is kind of a boring choice, because I feel like that was a really big album for years and years, but I don't think that the singles from the album, the individual songs, have not been big because she hasn't been on the charts. I feel like that's the direction that we're going, because she's just been very big this year with her fan base. And on the album side of things, just the album has been very listened to, but the individual songs haven't had much of an identity apart from Fortnite. But Fortnite will probably win something, which I think that's probably one of the best songs off the album, so it's fine, but it's just like, come on. So, okay, I can't let myself get too negative with that. I think I think there are some good things from the VMAs. Some good things that are going to be looking for the Grammys. We'll take a break for some of that stuff just as we get into get into more of the movie season, the holiday season. We'll take a break from thinking about all that. But whenever Grammy nominations come out later this year, let me see, whenever those come out, we will talk a little bit more about that. And so there'll be a lot of interesting things to talk about. November. So the nomination is going to be announced early November. So we got like 2 months. So we'll kind of take a break for talking about awards with music, and then we got in 2 months we'll have a lot to talk about with that, and it'll be just sort of speculation up until then. But thanks so much for tuning in. Oh, hang on, before I close out, I got to chat. Oh yes. Hey, wait a second here. I see Wiley was tuning in saying, "Is this live?" This is live. It's not pre-recorded. This is very live. Let's see. Let me show this here. See if you put a comment, you can be right here. Is this live? Yes, we're live, and we've been enjoying some time together here on an Indie Mondays. So thanks for tuning in for a minute. Thanks for the viewers here. Even if you don't comment or even if you don't drop it in the chat, I appreciate you listening, and appreciate anyone who's coming in and tuning into this, not live, but checking the pre-recorded stream. It'll go up on the YouTube channel in the next 24 hours, so stay tuned for that. But thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm gonna go get my car because it's just parked in some random spot, so I'm gonna go take care of that. But happy to be here. We have internet. We're good to go. I'll keep you posted next week, whether it be Sunday or Monday, because do you like the Mondays? Do you like it on Monday versus Sunday? Maybe we'll do a little bit of both. But be sure to you can always send me a message on the Goody Awards Instagram, and or you can comment here on the YouTube. But I'll talk to you after a while. I'll see you guys next week.